go wreck and sleep, I never could be broke.
Yeah, do it for your people, do it for your pride, and you're never gonna know if you be champions, me.
Good day and welcome to Personality Profile. Mantse, thank you so much for having us in one of your beautiful palaces. How are you?
Your job. But down Kwesani Okase Remo. Or my chombo feel back ni mimbi manye.
Ni mimbi manye.
Manye drum ablabo.
Mindabushi.
Yo. Be no porno. Alo ekofita ekofita ona. Onwo ekofita
Aye.
Aye.
Guys, I should have taken my gun lesson seriously. What was that? What did you say?
She boy yoga komi. Kake komi e ball.
Me ye komi.
O small komi.
Me small komi.
The fair be ni obaye komi as no kaya keshi. Obaye garu mo komi. Oba kase komi.
Okay.
Kefita no no le he. Ka gbene HM kra obanyo we gan gbene.
Okay.
Garu mo wa she if you can get she to me ke mo.
Now I see Miracle laughing at me.
I see. Yo, why are you tomorrow? No?
Anyway, thank you so much for having us in your palace today.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I am fine. I'm fit for purpose.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Since my installation, I started working.
Yeah.
To try to congregate our matter, and now I see it. You know, there are baby steps. Yeah, they're baby steps, but it's work in progress.
Yeah.
I have tunnel vision. I want to get the Ghana state somewhere.
Yeah.
And I believe that we cannot do that without reinforcing the support for the girl child.
Absolutely.
Train up a man child, you train up an individual, you train a girl child, and you train up a nation. And I believe that is why I'm surrounded by them today.
Yes, I mean, it's quite symbolic, actually. I was actually going to ask you what the essence is. They're all carrying pots with fire, and there's a bit of smoke going around. What's the symbolic, what does it stand for?
Machu, as it's called, is from the palm tree.
Okay.
And its essence is absolutely to cast away spells and evil spirits. So basically it creates an environment where you could have good, meaningful spirits attend a presence or attend an occasion. And this occasion is that prime because it's on Joy Prime.
Absolutely.
I see.
No, I like that. I hope even as it casts the spells away and I go, it will keep, you know, casting the spells away.
Yes, yes, yes.
Anyway.
It brings good luck,
Yeah.
basically. We say it ensures our manyeli. That's basically what it does, yes. And keeps us clean.
Okay.
Just like the nyanya and the hyssop
Right.
that we use most of the time, yes.
Okay. So it's been what, 4 years and more?
2017, I was installed as Mantse. And 2021, I was recognized by statute and started working officially at the Ghana Traditional Council as its president. Since I came, I have found the need that until we unite, there is nothing that can happen. And to unite, we need to support and empower our institutions that make up the Mantse stew. So I have elevated the paramountcy from division of Sempe to paramountcy. I have elevated the division of Bese to paramountcy. I have elevated the division of Asne to paramountcy, of Abola to paramountcy, of Akamaje to paramountcy, of Otublohun to paramountcy. My predecessor elevated Osu to paramountcy, La to paramountcy, Teshi to paramountcy, Nungwa to paramountcy, and Tema to paramountcy, Ngleshi to paramountcy. That's Niamugisose the second. May his soul rest in peace. Yeah.
Why did you see the need for this action?
It was, like I said, to strengthen the institutions around the Mantse stew, because until these institutions are strengthened, Obama said something, that what Africa needs are not strong men, but strong institutions. And I side with that. I believe that the institution of chieftaincy, of course, has its pinnacle as chiefs, a head as chiefs. And from chiefs, we have the institution of queen mothers, which is headed by the Gamanye. And then we have the institution of Wowoya Woye, priests and Woncheme.
Yeah.
And then we have the Agbamfu Acheme and Agbamfu Anyeme. In Ashanti, we say this is the Sumankwa Hene.
Right.
And Sumankwa Hene Bosum.
Okay.
Or the deities or the gods that the Sumankwa Hene presides over. And then that's how so that. And then we have the Asafo Acheme, Asafo Anyeme, which is also another institution, you know, of our military wing. You know, they lead the charge if it comes to war or battle. And for a personality like Asafo Ache Mankata, I mean, I cannot move without him leading the charge. Anywhere I go to, he has to be in the front of the charge. When we went to Kumasi, you saw that there was this gentleman with this strange hat. And this hat always attracts a lot of attention, you know, because it's re-fortified and empowered. So he leads the charge. And then we have one institution, which is the Wulamoy. Now, the Wulamoy strengthen our spiritual realm. They are heads of institutions of our spirituality as the Ghana people. They create the spiritual aura. They create the tradition, its norms and its usages. So if you see us, okay, one bashin, one dungma, one fangma, one shwe udada no wo, ake game, one jikpele, one jokpele, one shekpele, shemoin, one lakpele, alalai, one chungpele, kusung, one mu, mana, one kung mana, one yingma yeli kusung. It's all with the Wulamoy. They set the pace. Kaje wo te ni wo ko ka si be ni wo ba kumana fe wo Wulamoy ni on here na twon ke ni bi na fe wo ma wo shi ke ni fe manchemen ke Wulamoy e sure ne ke hwe mo na fe agbene hu ametwon ne ke kusum fe. So these institutions in Ghana, you say these institutions are branches, alogbinei, these branches, these institutions must be strengthened. Ekagbene anna manche, eka anna manche me, eka anna seno taloi, eka anna chukuno taloi, ona ninjo. So these institutions must be strengthened. Once they are strengthened, we would have the authority of the Gamanche or any chief in the Gan state, complete.
Is this your ultimate goal as the Gamanche, where you see chieftaincy play a lot more role in development and in, administering our communities for development?
Yes, I believe that there are two things that I'm going to talk about: the influence of chieftaincy in our community. That I believe that in this day and age, chieftaincy must transform to just sitting and giving instruction to a level where the chief moves to the point and makes sure that that instruction is also carried out. And you can see us right now, especially we're putting in the Gamanche Foundation and its tenants, and with our endowments as support systems for the Ghana Girl Child Project, for the ICT project. Right now we are bringing in an investor that is going to build an innovation center in Accra for cognitive AI training of 5,000 youths and all that from our ICT deliberation and program. We also have the scholarship of Gadangbe students, needy but brilliant students. And then we have the environment, the sanitation, and then also, so I believe that a chief must be interested in his community and must lead to socioeconomic development. Recently, we had to make a few tours around the world, and we found ourselves in Utah with the Latter-day Saints Church. We were given funding, and now if you come to Adabraka and you see the Mantse school, we've broken up the school, broken down the school, built structures, built an ICT block, built a library, building kindergarten, we're building a dining hall, building toilet facilities, and on the 13th of June, we will be inaugurating the school. We've done an AstroTurf for them to play football and other games in the school, and all that, to the credit of a chief or a king who is interested in his community. Yeah. Basically, I believe that chiefs also, for now, need the backing of the Chieftaincy Act, because when you're recognized by statute and you become a creature of that statute, it means that you're guided by its laws. And if you are guided by its laws, it means that these are the laws that empowers you and gives you the needed support and authority legally. And I believe that the Article 63 of the Chieftaincy Act must be looked at again, so that it's given the full and maximum support for it to be active. Because if you have people holding themselves and styling themselves as chiefs and they can just walk around, that would bring the authority of any chief to disrepute. You understand what I mean? But these are things that I believe that if the National House of Chiefs, the Regional House of Chiefs, all chiefs in Ghana are able to table this to the fore, with a minister of chieftaincy, to make sure that Article 63 of the Chieftaincy Act is heightened and given the necessary push that it deserves, it will give chiefs the bite and the authority to be able to contribute more socioeconomically to our communities and to Ghana as a whole.
Do you think the powers of chiefs like you have been usurped by politicians? Oftentimes when you're looking at the communal development, we're pointing at the member of parliament, we're pointing at the district assembly and elected officials and whatnot. Do you think politics has overtaken the primary role of chiefs? Because many years ago, chiefs really were responsible for social development, for what happens in the communities, but these powers seem to have been usurped.
I believe more that we can put it in this way, or in these words, that it's a shared responsibility and a shared effort. Basically, there's a line of politics and there's a line of a chief. I think that we must cooperate to do the work the way it has to be to make it more effective. If you saw recently on Friday, the Minister of Sanitation and her deputy, the minister, the new regional minister, the mayor of Accra, the minister of gender, were all in the Gamanche Palace, in my palace. And we made it sure and clear to them that there cannot be any meaningful development in Accra without the traditional authority. We understood each other, and now we have formed a platform for cleanliness in Accra. We have a 6-month program, starting from events preceding the Homo War, where we are taking cleaning of Accra to a different level. If we say Accra must be the cleanest city in Africa, then we need to do much more of the waste management effort. This is being supported heavily by Zoom Lion, with about 75 trucks within the Central Business District and the suburbs, Akuchie, Aminfe, and the chiefs have been mandated to use Asafwacheme to raise task forces within each community to regulate how people, use and dispose of waste. You understand? But I think that the Metropolitan Authority should do more. There should be a strategy in place that must be implemented, short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Accra is producing so much waste now. Why? Because in every state in the advanced country, what has happened is that the isolated city-state of waste management is used. It's only in Ghana and in some parts of Africa that you see that you bring all the waste to the city center and then pay at a heavy cost labor to take it out. Take out the refuse, take out or revenue it. But more importantly, in other states, bulk breaking centers are set on the outskirts of the city. That's one. Number two, packaging centers are built just by the bulk breaking centers so that just at that place, waste and everything like that is separated, is sorted. Most of the produce that has to come into the city center are in paper bags or biodegradable plastics. And the menace that plastics are creating for us, especially in this capital. They are everywhere. In fact, they have become a huge problem for the state. If we do not think about these innovative measures of how people are using recycling waste, having color-coded bins where there is education on waste management, having waste receptacles at different junctions so that people can just empty waste there. You understand what I mean? Having trucks move so that they can pick up waste, at people's beck and call. We will have a menace. And what does dirt and waste bring? Communicable diseases we cannot control. So I believe that actively chiefs, as a chief, you must be involved in the welfare, in the health, in your sanitation, and how your people live their lives. Because if you do not take care of that, and your people are unwell, how would you be able to govern and rule them even better? You need the wellness of the state to stay as king. Yes.
I mean, I like how you're not just concerned about your state as well, because I've seen your campaign for peaceful elections this December also going on, so you're even more, you're in the thick of it. not just for the Ghana state, but also for the nation as well. We will talk about that. But I'm just curious, seeing the amount of work involved and seeing that all that you're doing, did you envision this is what it will be like as the king before you got in?
Being Gamanche was very far away from my line of thought, and even if I wanted to be a leader, I never thought that I would be blessed and honored and have the privilege to serve my people in this capacity. The truth be told, my conception was guided by hands like the prophet Bra Lawson, who started the Lord is Their Temple, and then now is a Divine Healers Church, because my mother, Afu Lawson, Stella Afu Lawson, was a daughter of Nilante Lawson. And they served the church, the Lord is Their Temple. All their lives they were at the high table of the church and everything. Met my father from Teiko, Tsuru, Niama, and they were in Germany for a while, and Darmstadt. My father did the first degree in art and architecture, and then was given a scholarship to King's College in Cambridge to study a PhD in architecture. Before I was born, my mother had lost 2 issues because she disobeyed the prophecy that she had to come to Ghana because the child in her had to be born on this ground. And she, on the 3rd issue, which was me, had to fly by British Caledonia to Ghana. And
so they met in the States?
In Germany.
In Germany.
And came to UK, the Cambridge together.
Okay.
Now, when I was born, the whole me as a baby being born and everything like that, back in Ghana, back Bralos Leni Ejemi Kengme Pono, ni Ikemi Chon Chucho Bi. You know, we have a rites ceremony for birth and all that. So, outdooring of a child. And it's a very integral part of our Ghana custom and norm and usage. So, when he had done that, eke abifao ni afole ne ebe ba chu ni chumo wuluko ke hangan wa afo bine sanokwe ino ojogba. 6 months later, my mother flew back, and we stayed in England for a very long time until my father, the 4 years of his PhD. My father had to leave us in England and come to Ghana and come to Accra because his PhD and thesis was on the urban design of Central Business District of Accra. So I have certified drawings of the drainage systems of Accra, certified drawings of all the sewage systems that were developed by the Israeli engineers by Nkrumah brought in to build all that.
Wow.
You know, through the Busia toilets and everything like that. I have certified drawings on all that. And when these things had happened, you know, one would say the moment my father finished his PhD, he applied to Tech, to the Department of Architecture, and he was there as a senior lecturer. Later on, he became head of department and then also the Dean of Architecture. May his soul rest in peace. But like I'm saying, he did one thing that was very, very, very important to my, my dispensation now. Because if my mother had not taught me Ga at home or had not spoken Ga with us, we lived in Kumasi for about 25 to 30 years.
Really?
The only time I got to come to Accra was when I was traveling out of the country.
I see.
And even when I came, anytime I got into Accra, that same day I would go by domestic flight or STC to Kumasi. There was nothing that held me to Accra. There was nothing, weren't taken home, just that they taught us Ga at home. We learned some of the customs at home, but we were never part of Accra. The only time I got to come to Accra was when I did my national service. And I was posted to GBC.
Okay.
So at GBC, I was at the Audience Research Department, and my head of department was Victor Lutrot. And the Audience Research Department for any media institution is about the most important. It's very important in Deutsche Welle, in CNN, BBC, all the media networks you can think about. And I believe that it's still very relevant now.
It's still very relevant now, actually.
So what it really does is that it sends us out there to look for views and opinions randomly. So we'll go to circles, set up in circles with a questionnaire, start asking questions on presenters, on views, programs, all that, you know, on documentaries and all that. And so then it took me to most of the suburbs in Accra. Oh, I can be in a Bukumni, I can be a Sneni, be a Nake Osu, be a Nakela, be a Teshi Keni, you know, just looking for people's opinion and people's views on our events. And we build a whole, we build data and a whole, what do you call it, process of drawing graphs on each and every item that is posted, you know, at post-production on TV. You understand? Each and every one of it. From there, Audience Research, Mark Dodu took me, Dr. Mark Dodu sent me to TV and put me into the hands of Alexa Wulu, Isaac Addington, Mama Oye. And then I had the opportunity of being trained, you know, because then they thought that I could also be a presenter for TV. And his words were that I was very photogenic. I don't know what that means up to now. But,
Are you sure you don't?
So basically, yes.
I see. So it was the work as an audience research executive that probably opened Accra up to you.
To me, yes.
For you to know the suburbs and know the land of Accra well.
Yes. So it was never in my line of question that I would be interested in Accra or be even in Accra. My whole business and my setup has always been in Kumasi. I have a business in Kumasi that controls a lot of interest in cleaning and maintenance all over Kumasi, in Obuasi, in Techiman, in Sunyane. You know, we have working staff in Ho and other places.
I see.
Recently, we had to open an office in Accra because I came to Accra. And then also, we have it in Tema also.
Yeah.
So,
is this, I was going to ask a bit later, but is this why I see a seeming very fluid relationship between you and Asante?
Apparently, when I was in Kumasi, it was my father who was working with Manshia. My father did a lot of development projects in Manshia with the former Asante Hene Opokuware II.
Okay.
And then the current occupant of the Ashanti stew, Osaiti II, Otumfo. My relationship with him started when he was giving me a strategic management MBA certificate.
Okay.
So it was reported in the news then that two royals meet. That was the first time I had met with him because he's the chancellor of the tech, and from the business school he had come at our congregation, and as a graduate of MBA he gave me my certificate. And then we I graduated into being a consultant after that. So I was hired by Tokiwa to represent the company as a consultant on the KGTR project.
Okay.
My father designed the project, the KGTR market project. So I was a consultant on the site of the market.
I see.
And then we grew from there,
Yeah.
you know. But it has been Kumasi and me. I know every part of Kumasi.
Yeah.
And he knowing that I have a base in Kumasi makes it easier for us, you know, to collaborate on, you know, the same.
Yeah.
But he also had an upbringing in Accra. I mean, he had lived in Dansuman, he had lived in Abilingpe also, you know, and he was very close to Niamugi. He had a steady relationship with Niamugi. When Niamugi was even not well, he visited him in the hospital and everything like that. So, and he was also a very good friend of King Takitayo III, Dr. Joe Blankson, may his soul rest in peace. He had decided, I think, that a relationship with a Gamanche was eminent because our peoples have created a certain kind of enmity. You know, if you see how they talk to each other on social media and, you know, the kind of relationship. And when I began to understand that, I also took it as a mantra that we will make peace with Ashanti at all costs.
Right.
No matter what. That is my devotion to his birthday and then also to the Akwesidaye this year.
Yeah.
Because I said that this must stop. If we want to unite a state, it must begin from our kitchen. It must begin from our home. Charity begins at home. And I believe that if we as chiefs would want to influence and talk about peace in the whole nation of Ghana, it must begin from our homes.
Okay.
And then also it must begin between us, among us. And Otumfuo is a worthy ally.
Yeah, I saw videos of you at the Akwesidaye and his 25th anniversary celebrations, and it looked like you both were sharing some very good word. I mean, I would have asked what he was telling you, but I know you guys have very interesting conversations between yourselves. But it was quite evident that there was a very cordial relationship between the two of you, and it was commendable. I mean, I saw commentary about it, people talking about how it's a beautiful gesture, and I think that has been explained by what you about you.
And what he has decided to do with this gesture is that next week by this time he will be in Accra.
Okay.
Yes, on the 9th of this particular month, Otumfuo will be here, and he will even be in this house also.
Oh, he's coming here?
Yes.
To see you?
To pay his, should I say respect and honor?
Yeah.
I mean, to show his appreciation is a better word.
Yes.
A better word to show his appreciation to his little brother or
Yeah.
his younger brother. That's basically what it is. You see, the hypocrisy, it's too much in this country. We claim to love our state. We claim to love Ghana. We claim to be patriotic. And yet, we cannot tolerate each other. And yet, we cannot find reason, you understand, to have communication with each other. We cannot find the coercion. We cannot decide that these things are petty. These things are minor. These things can be overlooked. Let us think about the things that unite us more than the little things that divides us. You understand what I mean?
Right.
You are so and so what? More importantly, what we must value is human life and the value we place on it. And I think that he and I have been able to establish a certain kind of relationship, honor for each other's tradition in such a way as never done. And I thank the support of all the chiefs, queen mothers, and all, even these girls who went with me to Kumasi to grace that occasion. And I think that honor is served.
Yeah.
And that's for me, another faith,
Yes.
in my whole journey, to making Accra work again, to making the Ghana state live again, to making Gadangbe flourish.
Yes, and we can also say it's an ode to the city which raised you.
Yes.
Because you spent most part of your early life in Kumasi.
Yes.
And you schooled at KNUST as well.
Yes.
A little bird told me that you are also a fellow.
Yes, I charge.
Fellow! I see.
Yes.
You
Katanga,
went KNUST.
yes,
Yeah.
Katanga is the greatest hall.
Yes.
I know the Vandals would start talking, but Katanga has a peculiar descent. We are special.
Yes.
That basically.
I totally agree. Rest not. We rest
We
not.
rest not.
The only university
Yes.
within a university.
Oh yes, yes. We
the
rest
University
not.
Hall KNUST.
In fact, that adage has pushed me on, since I started this journey, that I rest not.
Oh, okay.
I have to make sure that I ensure the rights of children in Accra, their rights to an education, their rights to live, their rights to a clean environment, their rights to being able to be in an environment where they can compete both locally and internationally with their compatriots, and to bring out their innate talents the best way I can. That's why we have programs under the Gamanche Foundation, Kinka Bronya. On the 1st of every January, we feed over 10,000 children in Bukom, with starter packs, school starter packs and all that. And then apart from that, we introduce them to games that they might never have witnessed if I hadn't come into this equation, because springboards and trampolines and bouncy castles and everything like that are thought to be for the most privileged.
Right.
You understand what I mean? But this comes into the community, and the child has a whole day's experience, with these play games.
Very
and
wonderful
it's
initiatives.
yes, very, very wonderful initiative. We have scholarships also, supported by some of the partners we have in some of the institutions. Most of the institutions in Accra have not been very forthcoming with help, especially the social, corporate social responsibility to the Ghana state. Most of them have also taken us for granted, really. I have development partners, outside this country, and we are setting up an office here. And most of the events that we do are sponsored by these financiers, Whilst we have our local, corporate organizations, multinational, shy of, they make so many millions of dollars from our soils, and yet this is what we get. But I believe that it is not in the complaining of it. It's not even the talking about it. This year, we are making a step to have a relationship with every CEO on this land, to let them understand that corporately, we must build trust and a relationship. If we prosper, you prosper more. And that is what is the message that we want to pass out now.
Okay.
To them.
I'll take you back to KNUST for a little bit,
Yes.
because I'm curious. Your father was the head of department,
Of architecture.
the architecture department. And later in life, you will be a consultant on one of his architectural projects.
Yes.
But you didn't study architecture.
No,
What did you study?
painting and graphic design.
Oh, you're in the College of Arts.
Yes, in the College of Arts. So I had my first degree there. And I paint. You should see some of my paintings.
You do? You should show me some.
My paintings cost between $3,000 to $10,000 a piece.
Oh, wow.
And I think that one of these days I should be holding an exhibition in
We
New,
need to.
in New
We
York
need to put
or
an exhibition.
in Lisbon or something
No, let's
like
start
that.
from here.
In fact, what I would do is that I will send you some of my paintings so that you show
Okay.
them.
Yes,
Paintings
yes.
that I did in '98.
Wow.
If you see them now, you would even ask, wow, that's about it. So I
I
paint.
think we should have the Gamanche exhibition.
Yes, we
an
should.
art exhibition.
So
you can put it
people like Abledi Glover, Dr. Abledi,
Yes.
Professor Abledi Glover, and others are my mentors.
Wow.
Ato Delaki
Yeah.
and everything, you know, DeGraff Johnson, and all these people are my lecturers and then also my mentors.
Wow.
You know.
No, then
in-
we need
in
to
this art.
we need to see you a bit more in the arts fraternity now.
Oh yes.
I think it's a charge for you to host an exhibition and probably invite some of your friends, you know, the chiefs,
Yes.
come and buy pieces and put in their palace. I think that would be a very iconic thing to do, don't you think so?
Recently, I was in an exhibition in Minnesota, in the U.S., and I saw the different art forms that
Yeah.
currently and contemporarily they're making, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
What is being done now with creative art, and I believe that we have to inculcate that to the youth. There's a lot of unemployment in Ghana, and I believe that if we are building entrepreneurial skill, it should also be coined to meet with creativity,
Right.
the arts. You should see these children when you see them dance at King Cabronia. The kind of talent that a Ghana child has is absolutely amazing, you know. And I believe that we have to tap these talents. It's work in progress.
Yeah.
It's too much, it's a lot, but I believe that with the cooperation of the chiefs,
Yeah.
the Queen Mothers,
It can
and
happen.
all the institutions, we should be able to get there.
Yeah.
Slowly.
You know,
But surely.
you are a man of many parts. I'm still trying to, you know, figure you out because there's that part of you that's into art. I really didn't even know that. There's the you that is consulting on architectural projects. There's the you who's an entrepreneur who has a cleaning and consulting company. There's even the you that worked in media.
Yes.
At some point was on TV as well. So when you were a young person, what profession did you want to do?
I wanted to be a man of God.
Okay. You know the only
Yeah.
thing that stood out for me is the tense.
Yeah.
This is a wanted to. Is it too late?
It is.
It's too late.
Well, I'm doing God's work.
You're doing God's work now.
I
But why
believe.
did you want to be a man of God?
Apparently, in my whole life, you know, my mother always had a gift, you know, from Divine Healers Church.
Okay.
You know, she could divine and she could prophesy.
That's the same place that she got the prophecy about her
Yes,
child.
yes. And then also, she had a gift of healing. And I think that I had that transference.
Oh.
So, most times of my life, if you look at my life, even with the kind of musicians that I have produced in my life, the kind of music videos that I have produced in my life, they are mostly gospel.
Oh, there you go.
Kusibeko.
I see. You produce the musicians
Yes, yes. The, collaborations with Daughters, with Juliane Champon, with Pat Anthony. I've done videos, music videos, you know, edited videos, done movies.
too. Wow.
So and then also, Icon Communications was the marketing, you know, structure for Millicom Ghana.
Yeah.
And L. Jones gave us a contract to promote Mobitel Star Call in Kumasi.
Oh, back in the day.
Back in the
Starcall.
day.
Trami Starcall.
Yes. Mijina
Bontin,
na
make
make
us say.
say, you know, that sort of thing.
So you were behind
yes,
that as well?
yes. And I was given the whole of Ashanti region to promote Mobitel Star Call. You understand? That was for me I was young, I was tunnel visioned, I was a senior executive in my business, Kida Productions, and I had arrived, you know, with all that. So me as a person, I have had the exposure and experience. You understand what I mean? Of what it takes to be in a media house, what it takes to market, what it takes to speak. You understand? And even speak on authority.
A little bird told me that your voice is on my airwaves.
Oh, I will not go there.
So you used to do voiceovers. I'm not going to specifically bring it out, but you used to do voiceovers as well.
Yes, I used to do voiceovers. You know, GBC, you know, Gamma Studios, which is now TV3, used to be Gamma Studios. And there was a fine gentleman there called Bediako. He trains voice, you know, for TV presenters and everything. So I had to study voice, you know, and in doing that, you hear Adom FM 106.3. You
And
hear
that's your voice.
Kasapa, you hear Inshira FM 104.5, and all those liners. You hear Ghana Most Beautiful, Ghana Most Strongest. There are companies like IK who bought my voice for the whole year. They used to fly me all around the place just to make, you know, adverts or voiceovers and all.
Wow.
So
You have lived.
I have.
You have
Today
lived.
you've caught me.
No, I had to. I had to.
You've caught me in a junction, honestly.
I have to go back and play those jingles on Adom FM, Adom 106.3,
Yeah.
and Inshira FM.
Yes, 104.5.
Wow,
Yes.
beautiful. If you've heard those jingles, then you know that that's the voice of Mantse. You didn't know this. I didn't know this, totally. I mean, but they are very iconic jingles that a lot of people have the recall for and all of that. Now, back to what something that came to mind. Most part of your life was from the church. You just told me that you wanted to be a man of God someday.
Yes.
And most of your upbringing was from the church. I mean, your mom, your dad were all, you know, in the house of God, basically. But now you're the traditional leader of a community that really believes in their culture, their traditions, which do not necessarily conform with Christianity. There is some variance, isn't there?
No.
There's no variance. Tell me.
Ghana culture has always been a theocracy. Our belief in Bolomau comes from our attachment with Israel. We lived in Goshen, and when Israel left Goshen, we came down south to Ife. Even in Ife, though we served Odua in Ife, we still believed in Bolomau. And we followed the Neptune star and came to Middle Earth. Today, we're in Accra after our adventure in Ayawaso, the reign of the Akwamus in our lives. And now we've adopted Akwamu as Otublohun as part of our division. Now Otublohun is a paramountcy under the Gamanche stew. So our tradition as Gans is always been Hebrew. Even the Homowo, the facts of us claiming and asking for a moment, a period of silence on banning drumming and noise making is all what precedes before the Passover feast in the Jewish religion, in Hebrew. So we are a whole a generation or a chip of the ice block of Israel and their culture, norms, and their usages. When we evoke the Naye, we are evoking the now. The Naye Wolomo, that's the cult of the now. You know, that is what is established. Everything that is practiced in Egypt is what is practiced the Naye way. So the Tigari gods that we see amongst us now were an adoption from the Kwamu regiments and regime of Accra and our association with them. If you would know, most of our songs that we have are Akwamu songs or Akan songs. If you hear our Safo, Alalai, and all that, they are from that kind of association that we had with Akwamus and our Chims you know, and I think that they've now all become integral part of our traditional sect, you know, and that's basically where we are at that. So it's not at variance to the Christian culture. When I say that I wanted to be a man of God, it's because I wanted to be at the pulpit.
Right.
You know, but just at the pulpit, it was prophesied that I have not called you to my pulpit, but I have called you to be a Gideon and a Nehemiah, to build the broken walls of Accra and restore it back to safety. And that was the orders that have been given. And that is what I am fulfilling. So it's not at variance with anything I believe in. But then, like, wanting to be at the pulpit at that time, I had spent a lot of my life's work trying to live a holy life, trying to be a man of God. I was singing, and then I was invited by the late Archbishop Idahosa to sing at his 56th birthday.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria, in Benin City.
Wow.
And he saw me and he said, bring this young man, after I had finished singing. And he said, this boy will raise the dead.
That's what he said?
Yes. And from that day he said that, there was a whole new me. Because when he said, bring my horn, and he poured that oil on me, I changed completely. So I knew that in my life's work, I was going to be a man of God, because then I had so much. I had been able to gain that anointing, that premise,
Yeah.
you know, to proclaim the gospel. But when he also said that Accra is dead and he will raise it, that was the meaning of that prophecy. It didn't mean that I was going to be at the pulpit, but it meant that I was going to serve Gadangbe. It meant that I was going to change Gadangbe. It meant that I was going to change the narrative of Gadangbe. It meant that intention ni ga akoto ni it meant that intention ni ga afite ni intention na shigbeka ko yese ni intention ni aklo wo ni bi keje woden ni intention gbeko kasi be ni ga chake ni ga fe solo ni gbeke fe gbeke ni yo gashpon no Mantse yeli he base na moke hale intention nka mlalo fe mlalo ba fe kome nke Mantse me ba fe kome manye me ba fe kome asafu ache me ba fe kome manye me wo ya wo ye ba fe kome wulo mo ba fe kome ni wo ke chaki Gadangbe wo hi ashokoshie shi eshobe ne ku eshishi no mo be eshobe na beo sheshe be nisani wo fe kume eshe be nisani wo sumo wo he eshe be nisani wo momo wo he ni wo trashing ni wo dwenke ya he ni wo bi wo he no kokome pe akeshi yino ya bi kume ewo nmene awo wo Mantse me alo choku no traloy ewo ne ke yino ya bi ne mini wo shion ke ha me. John Ruskin said something. He said, when we build, let us think that we build forever. Let it not be for the present delight alone. Let it not be for the present. Let it be work that our descendants will thank us for. As we lay stone on stone, let us know that a day is to come when these stones will be held sacred because we have touched them. Kasi you know abi kume tay ning mene won duwe mrami ni won du mene neke tay ne ni woke fonshine building stone on stone. Nekeng mami ne amba kwe namba ke akesi energy Only Kentucky Teiko Tsuru. Gamanje. Ibachu kehaga. Kedang bife. I believe in it that, see, this is what our fathers did for us. This is what our fathers did for us. If you like, as a leader, one thing that you should understand is that if your governance is not of benefit to the people you govern or rule over, you should understand that it's superfluous. It's as well as it must not be there. Oh, he bese na momo don ke hama. It was an oyane mukonkulaba. Alo bes ano chako subang. We are losing our connection with the grassroots. We are losing our connection with our people. But the moment you lose a connection with your people, it means that you have lost your seat. We must regain connection with our people as a leader, as leadership of this state. I am ready to regain my connection with the people. Kona mi akuche ya mi, unani nye shikpong, unani police nye nse, nimi ya ni nye akuchu ami, nimi ya manche mashia ni nkamenywe, nimi mbangheshi ke hamo femo, fe, nkwa aka yesu na ke boa ni ana, na yesu na ke krama, wabi antone, wamomo femo, mo femo abba shishinumo, akechi game jiwo ga fomo bi jiwo, ga dangbe fomo bi jiwo, iko ba ngme wo he, iwo nye wo fe kume, woni ne nye ya ododo ben kume me ya meneke minji ne kemmo na mojuo, ni mojuo, shimom ke ono nyemi no ke suma hale no anu le shishi no ya yose akesi kele be obe gan ba chaki ne trahe na wie basa ne trahe na wie keke. Family value systems have broken. Bi later don ni che le bi ne kan yi kenya maybe wo ba chaki wo suke wo ban kono wo wose ko wo bi na wose ko afojuba. I'm here on a great mission, and I'm mandated by the authority of the gods of this land. My ancestors support me absolutely. That is why I'm Biasuma. And I'm telling them that Gan will change whether they like it or not. Gan, Gangbe, Iwachaki. Something must change. Sanukwachaki. At all cost, I'm going to make sure that I go out of my way to make my presence known. Gabachaki. No feno bachaki.
What's the first thing you want to see change?
We have to unite first. And then there must be a change of mindset. Because you cannot live on an island. Even all the world's most powerful nations want to join NATO. And they are giving regulation and all that. You understand why they can't even join. People are coming together. We are dispersing. You understand what I mean? People are coming together corporately, you know, to create policy. And we want to live as islands. How can you cooperate or collaborate on anything meaningful for your people? Because it's about synergy.
Yeah.
And it works corporately.
And I'm inspired by what you're saying. It ties in with the mission and the prophecy that was given to you in that church.
Yes.
Even though at the time that I am sure Prophet Idahosa made this statement, you hadn't conceived the idea of becoming the king of the Ghana state.
Never.
So at what point did that reality dawn on you that you could be the Gamanche?
I entered into several churches, and anytime I was there, you know, there was always a prophecy about me. And at one, you know, whose church I will visit very soon. Well, I don't want to create a media frenzy about it, but this prophet just said that you are Gamanje. And then he spoke about what my mother had been through and all that.
Without any foreknowledge?
No. And I think that it's clear that I have the humility to take this seat and to run it better than anybody else. Yes.
So why you?
I don't know. I wouldn't even know up to today.
I think with the bit of background that we've learned today, why not?
Yeah, I know that today I have been very revealing.
Yes.
Is that the word? What I can see in Fotomobo.
Oh.
I think I can see today a lot of people will come to know who I am.
Yes.
What I am and where I'm going.
And for us, it will make people appreciate you more. Because I am very inspired by your story and your things you've done, and even more by your vision for the Ghana state.
Yes. The Ghana state must live at all cost. It must. The Dangbe must rise again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So prior to being the Gamanche, you were a businessman. You had the flourishing business. Life was totally different from what it is now. You didn't have somebody hold an umbrella over you and had wonderful ladies hold the smoke ward of evil spirits. You had to fend for yourself against all the evil spirits.
Yes.
But now life has totally changed.
Yes.
Tell me about the change before and now. What it is like being the Gamanche.
The aspect of routine and a discipline, there are things that you cannot do anymore.
Like
You
what?
No, you can be with a woman at certain days of the week. At
Even
least,
your wife?
Yes, 3 days of the week you cannot.
Even your wife?
Yes. You cannot eat outside. You cannot.
The days you can't be with your wife, are they specific days or they alternate?
No, there are specific days.
Which days are those?
Oh, you cannot be with a woman on your stool days. I have Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday as my stool days.
Those are your stool days?
Yes.
Okay.
So in a week, you have only 4 days.
Only? Wow. So, His Royal Majesty, 4 days is not only, but if you say so.
Yeah.
I'm just curious though, did you have to discuss this with your wife? And how does she feel about it?
She's been quite understanding. So. But apart from that, you know, there are a lot more things that you cannot do, especially during our rites, you know, banning, drumming, and noise making. You understand what I mean? You have to stay really chaste and pure, and prayer and supplication, you know, and make sure that your ancestors hear your cry and your prayer and your supplication. So basically, it's a spiritual process. You can't live your life just anyhow anymore, you know. You lose your privacy immediately.
Okay.
Because you cannot go anywhere alone. You basically need an entourage of more than 10 people to be anywhere.
Oh, wow. And
You
this
know, in
consists
Kumasi, we had to go with an entourage of 250 people.
250 people?
5 buses.
Wow.
Yes. So it's not easy being king of the state. But my purpose is to serve the people of the Ghana state, to serve Gadangbe. And I am committed to this call to serve them even better. And I need their suggestions and their input.
Yeah.
You know, I keep forming teams and committees, you know, to sit on various events that we want to bring into the capital. Recently, we are talking to our investment partners. I'm going to be the new phase of smart city development in the whole of Africa.
Oh, okay.
And fortunately, we are negotiating with government on a few lands to be released to the Gamanche in business tools.
Okay.
And we believe that once that is achieved, we would be in place to put up smart cities, especially in most of the, land banks we have in Accra. Accra is congested.
Yeah.
The central business district is so congested that we need to move a spill away from where it is now.
So
currently.
you also agree with the suggestion that we need to create another city probably a little bit further away that also has administrative centers and that can create a whole new city?
Yes, the implementation of decentralization is of great concern and a matter of concern to me. Because why would we still entertain youth, coming to Accra to see greener pastures? We have youth in Accra who need, that same space, who need the same amenities. But now there's a whole scramble for that. The little amenities we have within our communities, that's where we are at.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying that the implementation of a country's agenda of decentralization is weak.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that has to be done, it must be given, the fire that it deserves.
Yeah. Land administration in Accra is a big issue.
Yes.
Many people, I'm sure a lot of people who are listening now are dealing with litigation issues, largely mostly because one family has sold the land and another family is selling it and this and that and whatnot. As the Gamanche, are you aware of this? And what are you doing about it?
So right now, it started with the New Lands Act, which is gazetted and is in place. We have collaborated with the Stool Lands Administration, and because of that, we have, and soon to be launched, the new Gamanche Land Secretariat. We believe that we'll be able to keep records, archival matter, and be able to address some of these issues, because most of these cases that we have in court are res judicata. Most of the cases have already been heard and adjudicated. So, but we need to have the evidence. People go to court for 30, 40 years, not even knowing that these matters have already been determined in various levels of courts of law, even up to the Supreme Court level. You understand? But I believe that with the forming of this trust from the Gamanche Customary Land Secretariat, we'll be able to collaborate with all land secretariats in Accra and regularize the matter of land, guided by the New Land Act. I believe that when that is in place, we would see a light at the end of the tunnel regarding land administration, land tenure systems in Accra.
His Royal Majesty the Gamanche, King Tackie Teiko Tsuru II, my guest here on Personality Profile. What an amazing story he has, but there's more. I mentioned earlier that I saw billboards around town about this peace campaign that you're embarking on. Tell me about it and what role you want to play in helping Ghana go to the polls peacefully in December.
Ghanaians are a peaceful people. Ghanaians are a peace-loving people. There is no better place than Ghana. you must invest in Ghana. I always tell my development partners, because there's no place like Ghana. Our attitude, the persons that we are, we ensure peace at all costs. And one thing that we have to understand as I sit here is that we also are in a democratic dispensation. We know what democracy is. That is a unitary tool. That's what is regarded as. And that it becomes a platform of our virtues and our values attained. Now, to build the formwork of our democracy is justice, freedom of rights, harmony, peace, and all that. And this is ensured by the executive arm of government, the legislative arm of government, and the judiciary. We come down to the fact that all this is conceived in a setup of our norms, tradition, and culture. And once we as citizens are able to attain this fate, then our democracy becomes meaningful. But the fact that there is free speech doesn't mean that you should have the kind of trend that we are having today. In GBC, we were taught that we entertain, we inform, and we educate. How do you educate a child when you are speaking on top of your voice things that will hurt and break a nation? We haven't seen war before. And I think that most of the people on our TV stations as anchors and everything like that, spewing garbage about people, denigrating people and all that, have not or were not born in '79. They didn't see the coups. They have not experienced war. They don't know what it tastes like. I tell you, hate speeches like this turned places like Rwanda into genocide zones. Atrocities that were caused, ethnic cleansing and all that, because of hate. If we cannot tolerate each other and still boast as peace-loving Ghanaians, if we cannot accommodate each other and still boast that we are patriotic to our call, what does our pledge as a nation tell us? That we will sacrifice all the peace and take it for granted and not respect the elderly. Achoshi owo ni gbeke li onupa gbeke enye ne ke jo onupa ahun ni ibatish de je manche gbeke budenche osumo owala no ba wala yi eja ke so ya dumoshi no gbe onupa hegbo no jo onupa ni ke eyabale po akeshi onupa etono ani onyo chi obenkele si obaya no ya dumo radio no ne kenye Facebook kenye ni social media kanibe ni nye jo onupa yi ni min kenye akeshi there is an Act 63 ni ko jemanche alo jo onupa quest about mobo kawobi ni bi antone efi akeshi na kan gbeno wo bayi eja nye tashi nye bu onupa wo se ko e me chose mo okuba ha obi. That's what we're asking. We have lost every family value system in this country. The fabric of our society has become corrupt. When I was talking about the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, it is because they have a responsibility to the people who have put them there. That is why they must, and at all cost, do what? Listen. At least keep their promises. But now I think that Ghana has evolved from manifestos, honestly. One who eto oba fe neke meaning feel. No. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And this goes to all the parties that I have seen become assumed governments in this country. You understand what I mean? She not even care ameji. We need a national development agenda. Ni ato ma bejiano to short term, mid term, and long term. Ni party kokra beneke manifesto kumba. She call ba oboba nyemi. Ni bejiano to ni atashi na pahe na towe ona nincho. Oba yino ni manya ye here. Ija shanya ba aka educational system neke. Eka kusaba eko another party ba eka educational system 3 years. Meneba eka educational system 4 years. Eka amamochu ko ya pram neke come affordable buildings ni your jeme. Musunsha. Take your thing, the public purse, the taxpayers' money. I commit all to such projects. Me at the end of the day, abashin keke. Me na feel. What mean Kenya? Me, cheji me. Ingla biye, in fe politics. Inke politics besani. She mean Kenya, akeshin. You have a responsibility to Ghanaians. Ni for gadangbe, ke game. You have a social contract with us. How much does it take to put a borehole in Bukom? How much money does it take? And how much money does it take to buy a mono-dual desk? Mono-dual desk and put it in the classroom. No, but I need to be a tesson. Ta mono-dual desk kumese na nga exams. Ming panye fai. Atonye mang. Fair na don loy. A war, you can akashe. Whether you are the executive, you are the legislature, or you are the judiciary, you are responsible to a people and also must be responsible for your actions. When the regulator, the EC, is able to put her house in order. Right now, we know that there are several registrations going on. If people need more time to register, give them that time. Let them register. Nobody must be disenfranchised so that people would have misgivings. It's important that our regulators of media, of communication, our regulators of this year's election act properly and in proper manner. Because what I see in this year, and the reason why I've started early, that there must be peace at all costs. There must be peace at all costs. And we cannot take our peace for granted. That's why when you come on the airwaves, and you come on social media, and you begin to say these hate speeches, I'm against it.
Right.
And I believe that these speeches and these things that people spew out, of course, there must be a law now. I know there's a law on fake news and panic and all that. I know that. But let's implement it to the full capacity. Let us bring peace. Let us make sure as Ghanaians that we do not take our peace for granted. Because it's in this peace that we can have socioeconomic development. And you and I can be safe.
Awesome. As we wrap up,
Yes.
I would want us to briefly talk about this year's Homo War celebrations.
This year's Homo War will be the biggest and the best. It's being preceded by a number of activities, especially cleaning of Accra and making sure that our environments are cleaner and better. We have collaborated with the Ministry of Sanitation, Zoom Lion, the mayor of Accra, the MMDAs, and the regional minister, the new regional minister, and the Minister of Interior to put Accra and make Accra work again, to make Accra clean again, to clean Accra before the Homo War. But this year's Homo War is bringing everybody on board because we need peace
And we'll continue preaching about peace until we have this year's election. Cha no manyaba.
Yeah. His Royal Majesty, the King of the land, the Mantse, King Tackie Tsuru II. I am Lexis Bill, and this has been personal.